Welcome in, welcome all. We don't really need that running right now. Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One World podcast. We are back live, better than ever. The season is here. We're on early tonight. The power came back on. We did not think this was going to happen, but similar to the delay that happened in Jacksonville, actually kind of wondered if we could just fast forward through all this. My gosh, what a freaking performance today by the Carolina Panthers. Number one, hope you folks are doing well out there. We're starting out strong. Steve-O wants us to go ahead and have Tepper sell the team. I can't drop any. I keep it PG, so I mean y'all can read. But Steve-O says Liam Cohen just made Dave Canales his. You guys can see it there. Steve-O says Dave Canales looked like the new coach. Liam Cohen looked like he had been with his team for 2 seasons. How offense and defense sucks. Yes. Appreciate Christian E with the shout out. Power did come back on, thankfully. Steve-O said, this is what happens when your team gets 4 series in total in an off season. There's a lot to unpack tonight for Carolina Panthers fans. I've let it simmer. I'll be back possibly in the morning for our normal podcast, folks, with potentially another episode, maybe a little more analytical episode, more buttoned up. As you guys know, we like to keep things crisp as we work through it. But when we go on the live stream, we kind of just let things happen. And as we sit here tonight and let this happen again, there's a lot of questions coming out of Carolina right now. Actually, if we're being realistic, coming out of Jacksonville, Florida, where Carolina will look to pack it up and head back to Charlotte for a very short stay before traveling across the country again to take on the Arizona Cardinals, and then Atlanta Falcons. We have a lot. I don't know. I don't have words. We'll get into the comments. You guys know I like to have a little bit of a monologue to kick off this episode or kick off the episode. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a monologue of brain dump. Number one, I will say, loss aside, it's great to be back on the live episode. You guys know, as far as the channel itself, that we work hard pushing that thing up over 3,000 subscribers now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We chart. Appreciate all you guys tuning in, helping us make this successful. I say us, helping him make it successful for me, because I am a one-man show. But here we go, folks. And I don't know how many folks watch the preview that I did. We put together a 40-minute preview coming into this. There was a lot of question marks. People kept asking me, friends and family. We went on ESPN Wilmington. We talked all about the Carolina Panthers this past week, and folks kept asking me, like, how do you feel? How do you feel? We've talked a lot about speculation. I've highlighted things. I've highlighted concerns. If you've listened to me through the preseason, I've highlighted it in the offseason. What happens if this thing doesn't pan out with the pass rush? What if the defense is the same as it ever was? And what if Bryce Young doesn't look the part? Now, it's game one. The book is not written, but it feels like a rerun. If we're being honest, Bryce Young in opening games, week one games, does not seem to have it. Dave Canales, as a head coach in his second season, is trying to figure it out. Grasping at straws, this team, I don't know what it is, because it's not just Dave Canales, it's Frank Wright, it's Matt Rule, it's everything that has been here since Ron Rivera has gone. And I'm not here to go down the path to talk about coaches here today and ownership, but my gosh, it's pitiful. As a Carolina Panthers fan, it is. We can hold on to this 10-year, this idea of the 10-year anniversary of celebrating being runner-up in the Super Bowl. Hoorah, go get your pom-pom, shake them. Who gives a rat's butt? Who honestly cares at this point? We have been irrelevant for 7 years. And it's every single Sunday, no matter who is out there, we just cannot figure it out. The culture is not there. Oh, we want to play Panthers football. We want to build Panthers culture. It is not there. I think for me, if we're going to highlight bright spots, and I don't know where it's going to go, you guys, you know, this is a little more freestyle for me compared to when I come into episodes and know what I'm going to talk about and have it buttoned up. When we come off of a game, we just let the emotions flow, because that's what we do. I have a lot of questions. J.C. Horn, football player. Tetairoa McMillan, T-Mac, football player. Almost everybody else on this roster, I don't know. The linebacking core that I continue to be worried about. And I was worried about the linebacking core prior to Josie Jewell saying he was out. Panthers needed to draft. They didn't. Needed to look in free agency. They didn't. That tandem, it's not good. Trevin Wallace, Christian Roseboom. And if we're going to start naming names and talking about players, and you have to understand this, I know there are family members of players that tune into my show. I know there's coaches that follow me on here. I get it. And I'm never going to talk down on anyone in particular in a way that I wouldn't say it to your face, but we got to be real sometimes. That's the point of doing this stuff. I keep the integrity there, but I'm going to tell you right now, as we start naming names and talking about players that can and cannot play, what in the heck is going on with this idea that Nick Scott is the answer at the safety position opposite of Trayvon Merrick? What in your mind as a defensive unit, as a defensive coordinator, as a coaching staff, as a GM, made you say, oh yeah, that's the guy. You know, last year when we were going through some bumps and bruises and we had him out there and he looked really bad and we pulled him and then we didn't really play him the rest of the season, you know what we should do? We should bring him back, and not just bring him back alongside Damani Richardson and draft Lathan Ransom. We should start him and we should play. And I don't know what the snap count's going to look like. We'll get the snap count tomorrow. We'll find this stuff out. Nick Scott, not a football player. Guess what? Reportedly, you bring him in because of his special teams. That's great. Keep him on kickoff. Keep him on punt coverage, punt return, whatever you want to do. Do not stick him at the safety position for your starting defense in the National Football League. Because it ain't it. How many times do you have to watch it? How many times do we as fans have to watch this? Because I'm just tired of every time we get on here, man. You think that you're going to find it. Maybe you don't, because we realistically came into this. If you were there, you kind of had this gut feeling that it was not going to pan out. Like, in the back of your mind, you said, oh my God, we're going into week 1. What is this thing going to be? What are we going to see? Are we going to be greatly improved? And overall, no. There were, like I said, some small parts. But to me, when I talk about the performance of Nick Scott, Carolina Panthers made a decision to let their safeties walk. Talk about the Sam Franklins, talk about the Lonnie Johnsons, you talk about none other than Xavier Woods. And Nick Scott was in the mix as well. You decide to bring, and Jordan Fuller. Jordan Fuller ended up getting waived. I don't know if he ever got re-signed. He didn't make the Falcons 53. I don't care. Xavier Woods, a player that was not perfect, but played every single snap, the most defensive snaps in the entire NFL last year, did not come off the field. You let him walk. And then he goes across to the Tennessee Titans. He's out there making plays, interceptions. I do not get it. We're an unserious team. And then to you let all these players spread out, which is fine. I understand you want to reset. But to bring back Scott and bring him back very last minute, because the Panthers panicked. That's exactly what it was. They're never going to come out and tell you they didn't, but they did. Because if you think about at the time when they decided to bring back Nick Scott on this roster, they only had Damani Richardson because they had not drafted Lathan Ransom at that point, and they had Trayvon Merrick. 2 safeties on the roster. And so you say, oh my gosh, what do we do? Well, Nick Scott knows the defense. That's a plus. Let's bring him back. I don't know how that is your solution. The performance that we saw from him, and it's not just, there's a lot of people, a lot of folks, we will go back and watch. Not here, not today, not right now, on my own, in solitude, in pain and suffering. Watch this performance again and just take a look and try to find some positive. But you, as a safety, are doing the same things that you did. And folks, you go back and look at the big run, the 71-yard run by Etienne. Nick Scott, if he makes the tackle, at a minimum, it's just a first down. And you're talking like, what, 5-10 yards-ish. Don't even remember how much, where he was in the vicinity, but it's a first down. But it's not a 70-yard gain. And then the pursuit, which luckily Christian Roseboom finally just figured it out. But Trevin Wallace is out there dancing along with his guy, not even ready to make a play. We go back to, and guys, this blurs together because of the delay. So let me go back here and make sure I get it. And yes, I had to make sure I square this away for you. 1 second. We're getting there. Yep. Okay, perfect. First touchdown for Jacksonville, the pass to Long, and I broke it down when we had the big delay in the break that happened. Miscommunication over and over. Now, I very, very slimly gave a small break to Scott on that play. However, context. When you go back, like, number one, we as fans are never going to know what the call was. We are never going to know who was supposed to be where. Now, you could ask. You could go back. I mean, I can't. I'm not there. You could ask, hey, going back and looking at that first touchdown, it looked like to be some miscommunication. Was that a breakdown in the defense? Did they not communicate? Was it coverage? Like, what? You could ask that question as a reporter that covers this team. If you want to ask a hard-hitting question, you could do it instead of asking about Bryce Young and his third season and hopscotch and whatever else you want to write about for your beat. I'm just saying the hard-hitting questions are available to be asked about why you have Christian Roseboom pointing over here at Long as he's just wide open in the end zone. It was a breakdown in coverage. Now, again, I don't know if the backer was supposed to be there, but it seemed to be under the assumption that somebody was supposed to, but Nick Scott can't cover two guys at the same time. Trevin Wallace is lost. His eyes are in the backfield. Trevin Wallace doesn't know what he's doing. I'm telling you, we're starting to, like, the words are going to start coming up, and we don't want to use them yet because it's early, but it's going to happen. And the word that we're going to be throwing around with some of these players on this team is B-U-S-T. And it's not for them busting their butts. It's for bust. It's early. But folks, eventually you are who you are. You can work as hard as you want in the offseason. You can hit the jugs machine as hard as you want. You can put in all the effort in the weight room. You can study. Maybe you're studying. I don't know what you're doing. Studying film. Eventually the football has to come out of you, and you have to start making some plays. And the Carolina Panthers, as Dave Canales reiterated, I mean, maybe I'll tip my hat to him for that. You got to make some of these plays. Carolina Panthers look like a football team that doesn't want to make any plays. Can we pivot? And again, guys, I'm going to get to the comments, but I can't do that as we go through the monologue. This is what we do. This is why we do the live stream. It's why we do it the night of the game. Fresh in our minds, all the hot takes. Let's get it out. Let's have you get it out, which I'll get to your comments and then also what people said on social media here in a little bit. It's time to circle someone, and it's not. I'm looking at my Panthers calendar of who's up here. He's not on there, so I guess I can't point you to him. It's a guy that I have been vocal about and supporting, and people are kind of bashing and knocking down my door. Not really, but kind of. And I kind of had to say, hold on, guys. Hold on. He's almost there. He's going to get there. Just wait. Xavier Legette. What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm not going to write Excel off. I'm not. It's one game. It's early. But the awareness, or should we say lack of awareness, is completely ridiculous. You are in your second season in the NFL. You should have learned some of these things as we get into this. And for you to have all the space in the world to pull none other than a Jonathan Mingo, and you don't need to be in Jonathan Mingo territory, because then we're talking about trading you away and you're just going to get buried on a roster somewhere. Have some awareness. Please have some awareness. I don't know how you don't get both feet in. There were a ton of missed opportunities. I mean, there were. We're going to get to Bryce in a second, but there were a lot of missed opportunities. I will agree with that sentiment. And I hope when I go back and watch that maybe it's not as bad as we think, and the Panthers are possibly going to be okay heading into Arizona. I don't know. The problem is this is not a consistent team, and Dave Canales has had an opportunity to figure it out. He's in his second season. Other NFL teams with first-time head coaches, and yes, there are guys that don't pan out, but how do you look over at Liam Cohen? And I know that he faced the Panthers twice last year in Tampa, so maybe that's a little bit of an advantage, but not really. How do you just look at other teams that just figure it out? It feels like the Carolina Panthers just have to try so hard, and their comments about getting the playoff on time, the schedule. I tweeted this. I mean, a lot of you guys follow me on X, or at least I hope you do. Some of you probably watching on X right now. Guys, they are wired in. It's not like we're playing in New Orleans. It's not like we're playing in Kansas City, Buffalo, hostile environment. You got this little microphone in your helmet telling you the play calls. It's not that hard to hear. they can call it into you, give you enough time to regurgitate it back, and you can get the playoff. Folks, I go and we watch JV football, we watch Friday night football. They have the same play clock, about 40 seconds. I don't know if you know, but in high school, at least in North Carolina, they don't have communication in the helmet. You know what? There are some hand signals that can happen, but the quarterback runs all the way to the sideline, talks to the coach, gets the play, runs back to the huddle, spits it out. Somehow they get the playoff in time. These are things that you cannot have happening. We just look like a Pop Warner team that doesn't know football, man. You can't beat yourselves, like, on top of everything else that goes wrong. You can't do the little things that just mess up like this. And I'm not telling Dave Canales to be somebody he's not. Like, I'm never going to tell somebody you should do this, you should act like this way, or you should come out cussing everybody out, or whatever it is. Something's got to give to a certain extent. We saw a highlight of the clip of the exchange with him and Bryce Young on the sideline. I mean, whatever. I mean, the frustration is going to be there. Like, for Bryce Young, especially entering his third season, I know people asked about him, this being make or break, and his response is it's the team. It is, but this is make or break for him, because there is no guarantee that the Carolina Panthers heading into next season are going to make a decision to pick up his fifth-year option so he could play through the fourth. Like, those things are churning behind the scenes. This is an opportunity for a quarterback to, and I'm sure Bryce Young's well off, whether or not he plays another down in the NFL, probably fine. Like, hands down, he could go back to Alabama. He could go on college football, sports talk. Like, he could do all that, be perfectly okay, and I'm sure he would find a way to work his way in there. But I'm sure he wants to play football. Like, that's what you signed up for. It's what you've done your whole life. I'm sure you want to play football, right? Bryce Young, big year for him. Whether or not he's going to come out and admit that it is a big year. In the performance that we saw, now, did he have help? No. Like, in some instances, you look at the first interception, he forces it. He should have trusted himself, we know, and ran. You look at the second interception, I mean, off the hands, tip drill, interception. When the ball goes in the air, it's never good. It's just not going to pan out in most cases. I mean, it's funny growing up, you joke about defensive backs and defensive players not being able to catch the football, man. If the ball is in the air, like, it feels like 80 to 90% of the time, and the defense is in the area, they're coming down with that ball down. Like, that's just how much better defensive players have gotten with catching the football. So I don't know. I mean, we'll look at the stat line in a minute, but 154 yards. And if we're being honest, he's kind of stat padded at the end of the game. So, I mean, before that, not good. I don't know. I don't know where to go from here as a fan, which is why we come on here and why we talk and why we vent it and get it out. It's tiring. And I think fans, like the fan sentiment, the leash is short. And whether it's fair or not, like, you could say it's not fair to put these players in this team and Dave Canales under, this shorter leash and expect more and want to win now. I don't know. Panthers fans are just tired of it. And eventually you're like, we are teetering in the territory of what, like, growing up as a kid, you thought about the Detroit Lions, you thought about some of these teams that were absolutely terrible year after year, and you just chalked it up as a dub. That's what it feels like. Trash bags over the head. Like, we've done a little bit of that here in Carolina. I don't know. It's only one game, so things can shift, which we know. But I don't know what to say coming out of that. Because in addition to, talking about some of the defensive struggles, like I said, we'll get into the box score, but the lack of pressure, I mean, it's just not there. I don't know what to say when it comes to this team. And then, like, to top it all off, you give up 200 yards rushing again. And I will say, yes, when you have a team that goes up and wants to control the clock, they're going to run the ball. Like that's naturally going to happen. But the success with which they were able to do it and the fact that I mean, it's ridiculous. You go back and look, and like I said, we're going to get into we'll actually look at the box score and some of the stat lines here in a minute and break it down. They averaged, let's see, 5.7 yards per pass, 6.3 yards per rush, 200 yards rushing. We heard all about, and now 71 yards of that. Like if that's just a 10-yard gain, yeah, you're talking like, what is that? My math's terrible. 130, 140 yards on the ground, which maybe is a little more reasonable and manageable. Once week one shakes out, I'm curious to see where the Carolina Panthers are going to stack up in comparison to other teams in the NFL. It was a bad day. It really was. I mean, the rain delay didn't help, or lightning delay, whatever it was, and I get it. Not a good day for the Carolina Panthers at all. One positive is New Orleans lost. So there we go. There we go. Atlanta fell to Tampa Bay. So, yeah. I don't know, man. Wild, wild times. We're going to get into the stat line and get this show rocking and rolling. I'm also going to get caught up now, or try to get caught up with you guys on... We'll actually get caught up here on the live comments or chat. Let's see. Can we do this? I don't know what we're doing here, but we're gonna show comments up here. But let's try to get going. All right, talking to you guys tonight. So Christian says, and we'll get into the lines here in a minute. Box score. He said, I'm more disappointed in Dave Canales' vanilla offense not allowing Bryce to play freely. Bryce made mistakes, but where are the plays from the last 10 games of last year? I think it's good. Where's the real Dave Canales? It's a good question. My Wi-Fi signal's also a little sketchy, so we'll see if we can improve it. I don't know. Hopefully you guys are still able to hear me. Power was in and out, so things are a little bumped right now. That's a good point. And one of the other things that I was gonna say as we were breaking down a lot of the things to complain about, that's what this is right now. You think about the Carolina Panthers and the wide receiver room, and now you can't foresee injuries. You can't. You made a decision to trade Adam. Adam was gone. Carolina Panthers missed Adam Thielen. Carolina Panthers missed Jalen Coker desperately. Those two paired with Tedro McMillan, pretty decent trio in my opinion. But everybody else, and I mean, I know I already talked about Xavier Legette. Everybody else, not so much. Hunter Renfrow, and I have to go back and look. I mean, it was a great play by the defender on the one where it was broken up. I mean, it was just a bang bang play. Like, obviously, I know it's not an easy catch to come down with when you go back and look at it. But I'm just tired of excuses for every player on this team, because I turn on the TV and I see other teams, other players able to make these plays. And Renfrow, I mean, if we're measuring him in comparison, I think, to Adam Thielen, because that's what we have to do right now, I don't know where I'm at. I personally, preseason, I guess before preseason, off season, had this idea that Renfrow could step in and replace Adam Thielen. But I think what we've seen is Adam Thielen was pretty good, and that connection that he had with Bryce Young meant a lot. Is what it is. I will give you a not so hot take with the fact that I think hopefully if Jalen Coker can come back 100%, Jalen Coker probably, as it is right now, is going to be your number 2 receiver here for the Panthers. I would like to see Bryson Tremaine get into the mix at this point. And again, it's not me writing XL off, but I want to see Bryson Tremaine worked into the lineup. There's no reason not to. I know Jimmy Horn Jr. did not dress out today. I mean, Is there anything we can do at this point? Ah, man, not good at all. All right, let me get back in here and get caught up on the comments. I'm going to try to get this thing on there. All right, so we've got sick of seeing this team, 7 seasons of losing. It's the same mistakes. Speaking directly about Austin Corbett, our center was liking the ball super high. I think it was always part of the fault. Bad. It wasn't on him. Yeah, it wasn't all. It was not all on Bryce. Like there, as I talk through Bryce, like you look at some of the plays, not some. He made some plays, and he put the ball where it was supposed to go. Your receivers and your team kind of let you down along the way. I do agree with that sentiment, and that's even something that earlier, before a lot of this, kind of crumbled apart. And I felt like Bryce Young, not terrible, like all things considered. And if you look at the stat line, if you look at the box score, you're going to say, "Oh, that's a terrible performance." I think there was some good within it. If we can get some guys around him that can make some plays. And it's funny that you go from talking, and I tweeted this too, but you go from talking about a wide receiver room that's crowded to a wide receiver room that's like, what's the identity outside of T-Mac? General McMillan's like pretty much the only one right now that's given them a chance to make some plays. And keep it rolling here. Oh, leading in. Said, hot take, Bryce wasn't that bad. He'll shake off the jitters and have a better game next time. I hope so. Next time is coming up quickly, too. Next time is right around the corner. I don't get how they come out year after year doing the same stupid stuff. I don't know. I don't know. There's a comment coming up there that I'll eventually get to, but it says, "Are you more disappointed with UNC with the Panthers?" I hate my football life right now. It is what it is. Following the Carolina Panthers and UNC with Bill Belichick's not a fun time, man. At all. So here's a valid point that's going to be talked about a lot. Ivero has to go. I am curious, and we did also find out that Tershawn Wharton battling a hamstring. So I'm curious, like if that's going to be long term. Last year, we saw exactly who this team is under Ejiro Evero. Once players got hurt, once you lose depth, I would hate for the Panthers to be back in that situation. But I'm afraid to think that the linebacking core, if one of those guys goes down, is not going to be good. I don't know how you can get any better. But anyways, yeah, a lot of people are going to be talking a lot about Evero. And I just think, I don't know how long it's going to happen, but we'll see. I think they only watch their mistakes, try to duplicate, talking about the Panthers coming in there. Oh man, I hope not. I hope we're trying to improve a little bit. Judy Chop said, coaching was dumpster juice. Something needs to be figured out as to why Canales doesn't trust Bryce and why his preseason strategy is awful. Yep, it is wild, man. It really is. It does feel like he doesn't trust him to a certain extent. Like I don't know. And honestly, going back, which I should have done here, this too was a big issue with Austin Corbett and snapping the ball. The snaps high multiple times. I kept thinking that one of those was going to go over him. The timing, putting it in his chest. Like, I don't know what was going on with Austin Corbett at center, but not a good game. And also, I mean, again, we'll have to go back and watch, but you see some of the plays where he's letting in pressure up the middle. Wasn't good at all. They were talking like this 2025 team was going to be like the 2015 team. I don't know. I mean, there was some hype, but hopefully you weren't hearing that from here or anyone. I mean, maybe there's hype from all the little check boxes of opening the season against Jacksonville, winning, and all the other stuff that was going on that was kind of fake news around all this. But hopefully you weren't believing that this was going to be apples to apples with that team. Canales is the one that makes the roster. This is on his talent evaluation. Yeah, I mean, they got decisions to make as they get into that final game day roster. To be honest, I don't know with what they have. And like, we haven't really talked a lot about it, but between Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, kind of the same. And then it's unfortunate to see some of the drops too between those guys. And like, for being honest, I know the game's not close and some of these moments don't matter, but coming off the hands of Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard dropping some. I mean, it just not a good performance, but I also didn't see that much of a difference between the two backs, and the fact that like Dowdle's at least right now, your third down back. Did see a little bit of Etienne, but it's wild. Canales had the handcuffs on Bryce, and they don't trust each other. You can see it. Yep. Josh said, we were trash. This is hard to accept, but so much negative. Bryce, to me, has until week 4, if not completely turned around. I know what we were drafting next year. I also talked about this, and I get the urge. If fans want to talk about quarterbacks, I get it. And if you want to talk about drafting a quarterback, I also get that. But when you look at this team in totality, they're, in my opinion, not a quarterback away. And so if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I just don't know. And you're Dave Canales. So think about Dave Canales, the success that he has found through Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith. And like, I'm one of the people that doesn't like to check the box that Dave Canales is the quarterback guru for Geno Smith. He was a quarterback coach. He was not the offensive coordinator there in Seattle. A lot of times Panthers fans in the media, we like to just hype him up that he did everything for Geno Smith, but he was only a small portion of that in his play, which does make a difference, but he was not the play caller. He wasn't the one, I think, that fully put him there. He was a part of it. Baker Mayfield, yes, but I also think Baker Mayfield was a good quarterback, and he just got bumped around for whatever reason, clearly couldn't land here. I don't think Baker Mayfield was as bad, and Cleveland, of course, wanted to ship him off, so I think we put a little too much weight on thinking what he can do. With that said, if I'm Dave Canales, I don't know what the market would look like, and I'm not saying this is going to be a thing, but if you are looking forward, you want to build a team, and you realize we're still not there. I mean, hopefully it's further than we think, but I don't know that I'm drafting another rookie quarterback. I think you're possibly looking at a younger veteran guy that you can bring in. Like, okay, this guy knows how to play quarterback. He's a bigger build, whatever it is that you want out of the guy is your signal caller. And then if defense, I think we're still going to be talking about defense, but I think that was the approach. But again, no. Christian said, how can you blame Bryce for this awful play call? XL allowing the defender to bump him. That's a good point too. When you go back and watch, and I mean, goes back to route running, pretty basic concept, but when that first interception that you have with XL, I know we all saw it, but if you break down flat, it looks like XL drifts up a little bit, but then on top of that, he doesn't come, I mean, I wouldn't say coming back to the ball, but he doesn't try to work his way back in front of the defender. So the defender it's just right there. Some of the small, like I even said during, as we watched it, it would have been better if he just got pass interference from the start. Have a pass interference call on that. And this Severo scheme has to be the worst and stupidest scheme. It's a mess, man. Canales is the Napier of the NFL. Oh man, tough times being a Panthers fan right now. We are going to look at the box score. I'm going to try to get through these comments. I may have to pause. There's so many on here, which is awesome. Appreciate you all. Y'all tuning in. I may have to speed through. Oops, we're going to get back in here. Oh, why does JC not travel? It's been a topic of conversation about him traveling with the ones. I mean, JC had a fantastic game, in my opinion. I think most of us would feel that, like, hands down. Really good performance by JC Horn, and nice interception there. T-Mac looks good, but I wish he tried to catch with both hands instead of one-handed catching a lot. I mean, to be fair, if you go back and look at the one where he's, trying to come come down with the ball in the end zone, like he's being held down and wrapped around him. So I don't think that's on Tyrell McMillan at all. And I know that came up in the post-game presser, but he was being held down. And I think Dave Canales will see that as he goes back and watches the film. Like, yeah, like, of course it wasn't called, but I mean, you can't expect him. If he can only get one arm up, he's only going to get one arm up. Kevin says, Bryce Young is the problem. I think we're going to get a lot of Bryce Young hate, which is expected, and a lot of, oh my gosh, Evero hate. I mean, just defensive. Steve-O said, I've been a fan since day one of creation that makes us miss the Cam era. We were spoiled for 9 years. We just can't get it right. No, we can't. Great point. Not being able to run the ball in the red zone, or not being able to convert in the red zone, turn that into points. Could not run the ball. Both guard. Yeah, there was a few plays too when I looked at Robert Hunt. And I was like, it's not looking too great out there, man. Yeah. Got to figure out. I mean, I have to go back and look. But Yash, and I know Canales called it out, like Yash seemed to be okay in for Ike Ekwonu, but it's not about winning today. It's about being competent. Canales didn't have the team ready. Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't understand how you cannot have this football team ready. I just don't. Cameron said, "No, I am not tracking the Buffalo Bills game." So in Ravens talking. So yeah, I'm not tracking that. I'm gonna try to speed through. I think we're getting close to the bottom, so we'll see if we can make him through. Bryce didn't play well. Got to play better. I answered this one earlier. Are you more disappointed with UNC or the Panthers? I think they're equal. Watching their offenses, they're about the same. Defense too. So I'm not missing much between flipping back watching both of those teams. Nathan says, you owe me an apology. I told you a month or two ago that if we had a center battle, we didn't have a starting center. You said his play proved that he is not. So Austin Corbett is the starter. I don't know that I owe you an apology. I mean, like, all things considered, I will agree with you from the stance that Austin Corbett, not great today. And if that's the case, you bump in Cade Mays. So that's my initial solution, but I will give you a hat tip to at least the comment that if you have a battle, you don't have one. I mean, technically Panthers are trying to mold in to whatever they're doing with guys that aren't centers. And so, I mean, you have this rotation of Mays and Corbett. We'll see. I don't know what they're going to say when they get back on film, but I'll give you a hat tip on that. Coach E reminds me of an old man stuck in his ways with the beginning of the game, and then when you get them 20 yards backed up, you take DB off the field, Derek Brown off the field. They're okay. He's more of a run defender. I think looking ahead to next week's, I just hope that this game is, that this game right now is the worst that we'll have. Me too. Yeah, so we got I don't know if this is a hot take either from Nathan. Leggett is a legit number 3 receiver. He's a bust in the sense that he's not a first-round talent. That's a conversation. It is absolutely. Again, I don't know that I'm going to officially call all these guys out here bust just yet, but it is a conversation that can be had for those that want to have it. And I do agree with you from the sense that 3 receptions for 10 yards, and you compare him to other guys that were close to where he was when he was drafted, we've got to start seeing something. Like, something has to come together for him. He was targeted 7 times, but his 3 for 10, his longest reception was 9 yards. So it's not great. Not great at all. Thank you for the point out about Dave Canales. He's not being a guru. Merritt said, does this mean XL is about? Yeah, we're kind of talking through some of the XL stuff. Again, I don't know that I'm going to declare it, but I'm when we talk about XL, I'm probably going to be the one that you have to like kick out of the room to officially, like, I'm going to be holding on to the door frames and you're going to be telling me, hey, the house is on fire. You got to get out. And I'm going to say, just wait. Just wait. I think it's going to be okay. That's exactly where I am with Excel. It's part of it because I believe in him. And I come through via, of course, South Carolina with the Gamecocks. And so there's like a belief that he's going to get it. But as I watch this week after week, it's like, okay, maybe the light bulb may just not go off for him. It may not go off for Trevin Wallace. We got some problems. So I think people that have that conversation, for sure, I understand it. I've seen great drawn up plays from Canales. I don't understand why his run plays are so vanilla, at least giving us more variety in it. Agree. Thanks for tapping in. The one and only Reverend Saul. It's hiring. Each year we get some hype, and each year the hype fails to hit. My biggest issue is Canales' refusal to give the starting line snaps. Probably could have used a lot of, at least a few more reps. I think now, folks know I was going through a lot when the preseason happened with my dad, so I didn't see things live, but I did go back and watch the Texans game, and I did see how y'all were on X going crazy about them benching and then not playing, of course, in the final game. It does feel like some of the kinks, it's like there's a bad taste still in our mouths on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know. Hey, there we go. Panther Gal said, you look at this as a positive. We're still in second place. Oh, man. Right. Clyde said, how can we get messages to Dave Canales? Well, you could probably mail a letter down to whatever Mint Street. That's one way. I mean, honestly, though, if you are trying to, you're not going to be able to get something to him, but there's a lot of awesome folks that cover the Carolina Panthers that are there, beat writers, people that's in Carolina Blitz. Like, I got to tell you, they listen to folks, they listen to us. So, if there ever something, they're going to have to stay within their boundaries, but I have noticed or known them to listen to fans and bring up some of the concerns. So I will say that. Little Geek said, I want to flush the week 1 game, but it's been 3 years straight week 1 has not been good. Yes, it has. Whole football team has forgotten how to play football. Amen, man. Corbett said that rush play calling was an issue. Yeah, it was. And I saw the locker room scrum. That's what you're talking about. Yep. It's one of those things, like, that's part of the reason why you go through the preseason too. It's not just reps. And coaches, and we hear a lot of this talk about, you get all this work in the joint practices. You can't put the pressure that you get in a joint practice. Because if it happens in a joint practice, guess what? You're like, who cares? We lose 5 yards, whatever it is. It's not real. It's not tangible. And it's also not like it is in an actual game. And so those reps are important, not just to actually go through the play, but to practice getting the play call in, to practice doing all those things. Josh is saying Excel is a bust. That's where we are. Hey, man, you call what you got to call. Defense is the problem. Offense practices against trash. Going right at the defense. Then we get surprised when it doesn't work against an actual NFL defense. Practice against trash produces trash. So there you go. Week 1 and covering tight end is our weakness all around. Merritt says the house is on fire. They want me to get out. Oh, man. Imagine DB in a 4-3, right? I wonder how long they're going to give Evero. I really do. It's been fun, man. Let's go ahead and jump into the stat lines if we can get to it. And then we'll look at the box scores. Yeah, they were really out of sync. Let's try this. I have to change my screen format here in a second. So we'll look at a few things on here, then we'll bounce over to, or should I do it this way? That works. That'll work for tonight at least. All right, man. Starting starting offense for the Panthers: Tedero McMillan, JT Sanders, Josh, Damian Lewis, Austin Corbett, Robert Hunt, Taylor Moton, Tommy Trimble, XL, Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard. On the defense, Pat Jones, Ashawn Robinson, Derek Brown, Turk, Trevin Wallace, Rose Boom, Shaw Smith-Wade. So their base starting defense was the nickel. You see Shaw Smith-Wade there, Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, Merrick, and Nick Scott. We talked about the inactives, J.C. Horn, Ike Ekwonu. I hope you guys were listening 2 weeks ago when we were calling out Ike Ekwonu probably not playing based off of the appendectomy. Campbell, wide receiver, Mitchell, and Cam Jackson not active for the Panthers. And then you can see some of the substitutions that went through there. You know what? Ryan Fitzgerald, though, how about that? Making one field goal and an extra point. So we'll take it. I mean, if you go back and look, like just looking right here, the game, I mean, we know Jacksonville goes down 3-0. We tie it up 3-3. At 3-10, you're still thinking, okay, we still got a chance. And then even driving the ball. And, you know, the one thing we haven't really talked about, which I guess we could talk about, outside of the interceptions for Bryce Young, his protection with the football. The fumble hurt. Like it just did. It's a game of inches. We've just seen this numerous times from him. Number one, he did pretty good running the ball today when he needed to, outside of the one decision not to, when he threw it to XL and it was picked off. That's okay. We'll move past that for this talking point. But outside of that, pretty good. He just has a tendency to not be secure with the football. And I mean, it was a fantastic play by the defender to come in and punch it out. But there's things like that. I mean, you're just continuing to hurt yourself and leave points on the board. You turn the ball over. I think we were listening to the Panthers post game on the radio, and I don't have it. Maybe we'll see it at the end. That the Panthers had 5 or 6 drives that started in Jaguars territory. Net started, maybe. Let's rephrase that. They got into Jaguars territory. I mean, it's pretty good. Like, you're getting over the 50-yard line and putting yourself in position. Like, once you get over the 50, you're really talking like, hey, can we get into field goal range? And to only come away with 10 total points, and I mean, one of them we'll call it a garbage time touchdown, because it was. It's really to only come away with 3 points. It's not a good day. You're not going to win many football games like that at all. I don't like this one as much for the stat lines, so I'll switch over and look at, I'll probably use ESPN.com for the stat line. Same thing for breaking down all of our yardage here. What I wanted to look at is the possession chart. So Carolina Panthers average field position was their 31. Just take a look at their drive summary. So field goal we talked about, then the interception, a punt, a fumble, and then that was the end of the half. So yeah, you're not gonna find a lot of success in that. Then you follow that up with the turnover on downs. And then you have a punt, another turnover and downs. And you know what? We really didn't even talk about as well. I mean, there's just a lot that's happened. But when we talk about the offensive performance in the red zone, at the goal line, that 4th down decision, I just don't know. Pretty questionable. Don't really have words for it. But not the execution that you would look for. They then, turnover downs, a punt, turnover on downs, a touchdown, and then the final interception. Bryce Young actually got bailed out on one of his interceptions as well. Like, the thing that I don't like is it is a little nonchalant with some of the things he's doing back there, which is it's a concern. He's not Brett Favre. For those who didn't watch Brett Favre play, when Brett Favre slinging it around, but Brett Favre also good about getting, and it's kind of Mahomes-esque too, getting out of the pocket, shovel pass, anything you can do to get the ball out, find a guy, make a play. That's just not him. Like, sure, if he does it every now and then, but he was trying to force that a little bit tonight. Wasn't great. So really, I mean, this was like, 1 second of a possession. I don't really look at that. So you talk about 8, 9, 10, 8, 9 possessions. In reality, about 9 possessions in total for the Panthers. And to have 2 turnovers on downs, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. So to have 9 possessions in total, you score on 2 out of 9 possessions. You have 3 turnovers, and then you have 2 turnover on downs, like 3, 4, over 50% of your drives ended in some kind of a turnover. 2 interceptions, a fumble, and then 2 turnover on downs. Not a recipe for success at all. I mean, you guys know that. On the Jacksonville side, field position was equal, both on their 31. They had a field goal, a punt, 2 touchdowns, and a field goal. The other thing is points off of turnovers. You turn the ball over, results in points for the other team. You're just burying yourself even deeper. We all know this. This is just basic football knowledge. They only had a punt, an interception, and 2 field goals in the second half. Looking at the time of possession in favor of Jacksonville, 31 minutes to 29. Your tackle leader for the Panthers, Trayvon Merrick with 11, Roseboom with 8, Ashawn Robinson with 6, Trevin Wallace with 5, Nick Scott with 5, Mike Jackson 4. Problem is no sacks, a big goose egg in the sack column. Sorry if I have Jacksonville fans watching, but I'm not going through the list for Jacksonville players in the post-game breakdown. Happy to preview you guys, but not going through the nitty-gritty on there. Oh, yeah, there we go. Sorry, actually, I am going to look at this. I usually bypass the first half summary, but we're going to look at the first half summary just to put it in perspective of where, this kind of sets the tone. 6 first downs to 12 in favor of Jacksonville in the first half. Panthers were outgained 121 to 262 yards, running almost the same amount of plays, 32 to 29, almost double rushing yards, 134 to 74, and 128 to 47. 47 passing yards for Bryce Young in the first half. It was not good. I mean, you're talking about a 26.2 passer rating, 7 of 15, 47 yards, 1 interception. No, he only got sacked once on the day, but the thing I did like too early is the commitment to Chuba Hubbard. I'm trying to see if we have any tendencies here. I mean, Chuba Hubbard was the rushing attack and Bryce Young in there as well, but 10 of 43, 4.3 yards in the first half. Of course, don't even want to look at the other side with Etienne. Not great. Let's look at the explosive plays at the very ends, and then we'll hop over to a cleaner view for the box score. And I'll probably wrap it up because we've been on here quite a while for the standards for for my show. All right, top 10 longest plays for the Panthers. The 27-yard touchdown to Hubbard. It didn't feel like 27 yards. He just kind of moved that thing with ease. So there you go. 22-yard scramble for Bryce Young. 21-yarder to McMillan. 18-yarder to JT Sanders. 15-yarder to McMillan. 12-yarder to McMillan. 11-yarder to McMillan. I'm noticing a theme. 9-yarder to McMillan. Imagine if the Panthers did not draft Tedero McMillan, where this team would be after this. Defensively, we know about the 71-yarder for Etienne for Jacksonville. Strange with a 24-yarder. Middle to, De'Ami Brown, 23-yarder, 17-yarder to De'Ami Brown. Run by Etienne. So, anyways, let's switch over, make it a little bit cleaner view. All right. So, overall, Bryce Young finished 18 of 35, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, sacked once, Trevor Lawrence, 19 of 31, 178, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not a great game. But guess what? Winning football games makes some of the other stuff a little bit smaller. You can get past some of your mistakes and some of your shortcomings when you win. People just forget. It's natural. It's what happens. Chuba Hubbard finishes with 57, Bryce with 40, Rico Dowdle with 12. I guess Etienne only got the 1 carry for 4. Did put up 113 yards combined, but not really a stellar performance. I like Bryce Young scrambling, but I don't like him being the second leading rusher on this team. We know about Etienne, 143, Trevor Lawrence, 12, Tank Bigsby, 12, Bashul with 11. Can they put up 200 as a team? Tedro McMillan leads the way for the Panthers with 5 for 68. Chuba Hubbard, 3 for 32. JT Sanders, 2 for 27. Renfro, 2 for 11. XL, 3 for 10. Rico, 2 for 4. Tommy Tremble, 1 for 2. Not a terrible day for Travis Hunter in his debut. 6 for 33. De'Ami Brown, 3 for 52. And Strange, man, they're tight end, 4 for 59. Hunter Long with a 1 touchdown. Honestly, you look at Brian Thomas Jr., Panthers shut him down. 1 for 11. A guy that's coming off a 1,200-yard season. Not bad. Bryce Young with the lone fumble. We already looked at some of the defensive box scores for both of these teams. Travis Hunter did get 1 tackle. Only having 1 sack, too. I will chalk that as we try to find silver lining here as a positive for the Panthers to only give up 1 sack. We did not sack Jacksonville. Feels like a continuation of last year, so is what it is. Etienne on the kickoff return had 2 for 43, 27 was his long. Punt return, he had 1 for Moore and 1 for Etienne. That was the other thing, too. I knew I was missing somebody in the lineup. Didn't really see anything or hear anything from David Moore as well. Not that I would anticipate it, but yeah, a lot of question marks regarding the wide receiver room right now. Ryan Fitzgerald, we talked about 1 for 1. I'll take it. And the 1 extra point. Cam Little, monster kicker from the preseason, finishes 4 for 4. Takes care of business. We'll go and look at the team stats, breaking it down between these two. Try to get that to stop. 15-19 first downs in favor of Jacksonville. Third down efficiency, 8 of 15. Panthers weren't terrible on third down. 8 of 15, 5 of 12 for Jacksonville. Over 2 on fourth down for the Panthers, though. 2 for 2 for Jacksonville. Plays about the same, 61-63. Jacksonville with 63. They did outgain us by, 120-ish yards? 378-255. 4.2, we already talked about yards per play. 4.2-6. Passing, 142-178. And we also looked at running and talked about yards per rush, 4.5-6.3. Jacksonville was also penalized a lot more. They kind of hurt themselves a little bit going into that, or actually going down the field on that opening drive. They set themselves back, thankfully, and only came away with the field goal. But 4 for 35 for Carolina, 11 for 93 for Jacksonville. All right. What else we got coming up here? I'm going to hop out on X in a second and take a look. Get back here. Nope. Not that. Wrong button. I'm going to catch up on comments real fast, and then I'm going to take a look at comments from folks on X, and we'll get everyone's final takes and then close this out. All right, let's catch up here. Final group of questions for the night. They were really out of sync as well. Should have played more in the preseason. Oh yeah, talking about the offensive line. XL looked terrible. Defense has gaps. Renfro is not Adam Thielen. Yep. On the bright side, Tet looks like the pick. I agree. I appreciate that. Reposting the stream, Lil Geek. Thank you. Marco said almost every play the clock was right. You can't do that. if your play calling is that complicated, like, and there's also a real element of this with Dave Canales calling the plays and also trying to manage the game. That's part of the reason you delineate some of those duties as a head coach at some point. But anyways, don't know that makes a difference. Even if we had Adam Thielen, I don't think it made a big difference. I do agree with that. It wasn't a great night, a great evening or afternoon. Oh, you're good. You're good, Curtis. Nah, you were spot on though. I'll give you that. Talking about if you have two, you have none. So I'll give you, especially after week one. Appreciate it as always. I said the guys on the radio said we gave away 13 points. It's not good. AD was the only reliable receiver Bryce has had his whole career. Losing that comfort, it is. There were moments where you're like, oh, maybe Renfro's that. Maybe at this point it's going to be Tedero McMillan, but it's clear that it's not going to be XL. Maybe we get proven wrong, but it's not great. Adam Thielen is reliable, but I don't think it would make. Yeah, agree. Just can't get over the fact we literally gave away points. Lots of points given away. You turn the ball over. You give folks good field position. Shout out to Merritt for becoming a member. Appreciate you guys as always. If you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. V says, I think the game's closer with Thielen. Maybe a slim. Maybe he does. I mean, to a certain extent, maybe he does make a few of these plays and it does come out closer, but I still think Jacksonville pulls it out. Defense isn't great. Play calling was bad. We had 2 and 1 after Chuba ran 9 yards, and we decided to throw. 2nd and 1. Yeah. Just run the ball. Agree with that. Fish rots from the head down. Coaching preparation and scheme were lacking. Players not playing to their ability sinks the ship. Sure does. Every time Bryce was under center, it was a run play, not even a tricky run play. It was Chuba right up the middle. Now I was a little too. I have to go back and watch to see if that's the case, but that's not great. If you're running the ball every time, not having a little bit of play action and pass off of it. Ron Rivera. Yeah, he is he's the GM of Cal football, right? That's where he is right now. And heck, if you want to go ahead and bring Frank back from Stanford, do that. Maybe even Bill Belichick. You won't have to go far. I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah. It is weird from the fact that Canales really trusts David Moore to not at least see him a little bit out there. Brennan Race, different years, same results, right? Never. Deja vu. It's just like we're stuck on repeat, man. It is Groundhog Day. I don't know how we get through this. Hopefully they break it. Like, we just need to get to 500. Because every loss that stacks up is going to make it that much harder. It's also going to make it that much harder to make the playoffs. I looked out during the game, of course, because that's where my mind was. It said, over the last 10 years, only 9 teams that have started 0-2 have made the playoffs. It's possible, but I like those odds. Need to get to 1-1. Linebackers are trash. Coaching, quarterback is shaky. Running is all right. T-Mac is good. Yep. Hey, Wilkes is back in the league, and we are going to see him in the New York Jets, maybe. Right. Oh, man. Can't say we didn't see this one coming, mate. Yep. Agree with you there. All right, let me see. Hopefully I have this bookmarked, because on top of course, y'all, we have, what do we have here? If I get my bookmarks up, we've got some responses online, and I'm trying to see what people said. Maybe. Reactions. Here we go. 28 responses. I don't know what some of these are going to be, so I'm not gonna pull them up. You can just go all on the X, and you can look. Anyways, Bridget said, "Same crap, different season. One consistency." She has a picture of Tepper. We have the meme of the Alabama player. It's flicking off the camera, but it's in Panthers gear. This is actually perfect. So that was the second response from Jason. Tarpin says 2 years in a row, Bryce starts cold. Really 3. I'm starting to question how well Canales is running the offseason practices because this should not be a thing. Logan said, I let them get me excited. Why did I do that? XL and Evero stock down to the moon. Scott Wilson said the Panthers defense has been horrific the entire time Evero has been here. I've defended him in the past, but they addressed that defense with the draft and free agency and a whole offseason to work on it. How can it be this bad? Yeah, how can it be this bad? I don't know. Reverend Saul, I only maybe have another 2 or 3 games of patience left for this defense, and Bryce XL really needs to step up because the plays he missed are pathetic. His effort at blocking are not there. His run game needs to go back to square one. It's high school basics. I agree. Michael Alexander said, it's bad. We play like we were trying not to make mistakes instead of just playing. Yep. Lucas says, to me, the most important thing is what's your identity? The best Panthers team in the past were good defense, smash mouth football. On offense with some explosive plays, I have no idea what we hang our hat on. We do that special. I don't either. I do not either. XL better be a linebacker next week. That's what MV9 Bryce Faux MVP says. DeAndre Roseborough says, we suck. Maybe we got the wrong OC from Tampa Bay. Oh, man, it's maybe the best one of the night. Oh, man. We have a, oh, no, we suck again meme. Same stuff, different year from Jeff Clark said, had a bit to think about it. Really no longer mad with the players. This is on coaching. Yeah, I think a lot of it on coaching. Jasmine says, coaching let us down. We seem so unprepared and incompetent. So many drops. I felt like would have been catches if we had 19. Yeah, the center with the high snaps. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I know it's only week 1. Silver Cat, 1986. How many coaches will this quarterback ruin? Ooh. Bryce is clearly not a Super Bowl quarterback. I don't think he's a starter. He does nothing great. He's average at best. He had 47 yards, 1 interception, 1 fumble in the first half. Yeah, we were looking at that. He can't see the wide receivers. He's late. He's average speed, not a strong arm. Man, not a fan. You know what? This is the reason y'all get to think what you want, man. I'll go for it. Dalome's fourth cousin says, as bad as individual players may have been, the coaching staff was overmatched and not prepared, being that far behind and running the play clock down every play. Yep. A lot of consistencies, man. We have Xiaomi, who has just a meme of them wanting of selling the team. Merk smashing the computers from the office space. Chet says, we don't have a NFL quarterback for one. I seriously would take any other starting quarterback over Young. I mean, these are going to be the storylines, man. Like it feels like we had moved past. We're like, oh, Bryce Young, you got to do it. You got to do it for an entire season, and you come out and lay a goose egg like this. It's not all in him, entire team, but yeah, it doesn't help. Paul says it's going to be a long season. Looks like the season's over. Zach said the preseason matters. I understand injury concerns in a meaningless game, but that was some of the most ridiculous slop I've ever not actually seen. I'm in PA, so I'll have his red zone and game cast. Okay, so he couldn't watch it. He said, yeah, terrible. Bleeding Blue. Defense's ages away. Wide receiver room needs help. Quarterback is a big old question mark. James feels like it's a coaching failure. Trey Tutrill says same sheet, just a different season. Cheryl, this doesn't make no sense. It's a Medea meme. It's fun. Team look for Matt, astronaut Matt. Team looked unprepared. Why is Nick Scott starting? Amen. Ding, ding, ding. Why didn't Scorton and Princely get any burn? Yep, Dave Canales is full of crap. Another word. And our man Judy Chop said Canales is a massive, massive problem. He comes off as sanctimonious when he underprepares his team. He is out-schemed and out-coached, and his play calling is dumpster juice. Nick Scott and Josh don't belong in the starting lineup. I will say, to the extent when we talk about Yash, kind of, I guess you could have thrown out Brady Christensen. So wild times, man. Oh boy. All right. We'll get the last few comments on the live stream and call it a night. Appreciate y'all tuning in. In a year, there might be 3 to 4 quarterback starters in the draft. Bryce has to make some big strides. Yeah. That's the thing too. I mean, I know this is, nobody wants to really talk about this. I mean, maybe there are some folks that do, but I hate talking about this in week 1. But in a year, yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the first round, which we've seen. So there's a lot, really is. Canales is the problem, along with Bryce. Hope they aren't back next year. Man, he's ready to ship them out, ready to fire the coach. Matt said, see you. Oh man, Rock said, at least we got the Tar Heels in the game. Oh God. Going from TC, I joked that I hoped I didn't have to go from the TCU game to this and see the same thing, and I did. But in between it, you know what? We got a mighty win over Charlotte. Speaking of Charlotte, and the Gamecocks, until they had Swarmy returning punts for touchdowns, they were worrying me over there last night. Matt said, is it April yet? Who's the best quarterback in the draft? There's lots TBD on who's going to actually come out. So we'll have to find out. Arch, Lenoris. Yeah, Rock said that. Looked great. He did. I mean, Tedro McMillan looked the part of what you would want out of a first-round wide receiver. Sellers, yep. Yeah, I really like Nussmeier. I'm big on him now out of LSU, but it's early. Banked will be packed with Falcons fans week 3 for the home opener. I do think if you don't come back from Arizona 1-1, it feels like because it's the home opener, you're probably going to have an okay crowd. But yes, I do agree as the game's going on. Cowboys, Dolphins, all the teams, it'll be the usual suspects taking over the stadium. Nathan said, I had an issue with Canales not wanting the offense doing gassers on the sidelines. Bryce and Chuba felt it was necessary due to pre-snap penalties. That's why we have no discipline. And good point here. Bryce is not Dave's quarterback. He can't run the offense because Bryce can't move the ball. Too small to run in short yardage areas. You are limited. Anyways, folks, man, it's been great. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, please subscribe on YouTube. That's the place to be because, believe it or not, coming out of this, we will move on and we will preview the Arizona Cardinals probably in the next day or two. And then, of course, through the week, giving you other content as we react to the pressers, as we get news and we figure things out. And hopefully it's not a train wreck for the rest of the season. And we are live every Sunday night. I don't think I'll be able to go live Monday night of the Monday Night Football game, but we're live every game after the Panthers, usually around 9 o'clock on YouTube, X, Facebook. As always, man, appreciate y'all tuning in. That is going to do it for today's episode. Hope y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all later.